Hi, everyone, and welcome to this presentation on substreams for Google Sheets. My name is Etienne, so I'm an intern here at Pinax. I've been working with Pinax for about 8 months now, and we're going to talk about this project to bring blockchain data to your favorite spreadsheet editor, Google Sheets. So first, we're going to talk about why you would need access to blockchain data. So what are the use cases? So you might be interested in market analysis. If you want to analyze a certain token, you want to learn about its price history, the growth of a certain project, tokenomics, supply distribution, etc. That's something you might be interested in. So also something else is on-chain activity measuring. If you want to see the transaction volumes, contract interactions, etc. Another very interesting use case is traceability. So maybe you're into your tax reports and you need to figure out, like in your spreadsheet, like what are my transactions? What did I do this year? Well, you can have that in your spreadsheet directly. Another use case is for security incident analysis. So if you're conducting some kind of analysis about hack or something, and you want to trace back the transactions, you will need access to blockchain data to do that. And so those are just a few of the use cases of having access to blockchain data. Now we're going to take a look at how do you access and manipulate this data today. So you can go to aggregated websites like CoinMarketCap, DeFi, etc. So you have access directly to the information, but you might not have the information that you need. Like it's an arbitrary selection of information. You can't really build your own, right? So maybe you turn around to blockchain explorers if you need a lot more details about certain transactions. Again, it's not really customizable, so you might spend a lot of time searching for it instead of getting it directly. Another alternative is to use some kind of dashboard builders and services like Dune and Glassnode. So those are very good because you can customize them and they're enhanced by the community. But again, I think like, for example, for Dune, you only have access to Ethereum data and some L2s. And there's like a learning curve because you have to kind of run SQL to make the request, etc. So what if you just use your favorite editor, Google Sheets, with Substreams? So you get access to like fully customizable substream and data. You get a familiar interface because of Google Sheets, and you get tabular data so that you can work those formulas, those charts, everything, all that good stuff. So the only downside right now is that it's still in development. So there's additional support to come. Maybe you're going to miss a bit of data, but that's something we're working on. And right now I'm going to show you now with the demo time, I'm going to show you how it looks like. So we go here in Google Sheets. I have a blank spreadsheet here. I have two sheets. I'm going to show you on the blank sheets how to get blockchain data. So in the side here, you can look, we have the Substream Sync here, which is the extension. It's called Dev because it's the latest version. So I'm going to show you the latest investment. And it comes in the form as a site panel where you first enter the Substream package you're going to use. So if you're not familiar with Substream, I recommend reading about the documentation on Pinax or on Streaming Fast websites to learn more about these. But what I'm going to show you here is just like, we're going to use this Substream specifically here, which is going to get us data about the Antelope token transfers. And you can see we have a bunch of different substreams at Pinax. We have something related to accounts, etc. So for now, we're going to just take a look at the transactions on the Antelope network. There are a few options you can get from the substream. So you can choose the module. Here we just have only one module for the substream. We're going to select which endpoint we're going to extract data from. So we're going to use one of GEOS Nations endpoints for that. Then you want to add a start block and a stop block. So a period for which you want to extract the data. So the starting block, for example, we can take a look at or Block Explorer here. It's going to be helpful. If you take a look at the head block, we see it's about 305 something. So maybe if we want like fresh data, we're going to start at 305 something. So we're going to say 305 and then zeros. And I can select my start block relative to the start block. For example, I want 1,000 blocks. I'm going to say I want plus 1,000. For now, data columns we can ignore. It's just to filter the data that comes out of the substreams. So we're just going to get all the data here for this example. Another option you have is to add a header row for the data columns in order to label the data you're going to get. It's very useful to analyze after. And I'm going to select the second sheet here. I'm going to hit run. So the way it's built, you have to kind of update the status here. We see it's running. Why we don't have an automatic update of the status is because of like some technical limitation about the extension. You can only update the status if you get a query from the Google Sheet. So we have to update status kind of manually here. If we click, it's going to update the status, and you can see it's already finished. So you can see we have our headers and all data here. So now we can basically close the add-on and work with the tabular data like you would normally do. So if you're familiar with Google Sheet, you can go, for example, and tag this as a number and use that information with the SIM codes here to maybe build a chart that is going to tell you the distribution of the tokens for this specific 1,000 blocks. So if I go and make a pie chart, we see a bunch of nonsense here, but once the labels are added, if I select my SIM code as label, and I'm going to say aggregate, I can see that for the 1,000 block we just extracted, we see that about 41% are about EOS tokens, 35% about UPX, etc. And so that's a very quick way to generate insights. But there's something very cool you can also do with Google Sheets, is to go to a tool called Looker Studio. So also by Google, if you go to lookerstudio.google.com, and you can start a report. And what reports do is be able to build charts like we just did directly into a specific tool. So here I linked my test sheet on the Looker Studio project, and you can see that I have the exact same fields that I have in my Google Sheets. I have them here. And I can make calculations about these fields and aggregate them, etc. And so at the end of the day, if I show you the example dashboard I built this dashboard in like 2 or 3 hours without even knowing the tool in the first place. I've never heard of Looker Studio before. And it's that easy to build a very insightful dashboard. So here I only selected, for example, the EOS token transactions. And I can see I have a transaction volume of about 127K. So those are for 5,000 bucks. So those corresponds to the data that we have in our first sheet here, which is the exact same data we just extracted, except for longer, or 5,000 bucks. And so it's a very good way to generate insightful dashboards that can really give you some great info and data. So if I go back to our presentation now, we can ask why we would use Substream for this. Well, the first reason is it's highly flexible and highly customizable. So you can get only the information that you need or all the data that you want. So substreams are a way to like combine the data so that you only get what you want. So it's also chain agnostic. So generic substreams allow for multi-chain data aggregation. You can build generic substreams that allow you to get data from different blockchains with only one substream. It's fast and efficient because by design, you have some optimization like gRPC compression and cached operations that make it very fast. And the only downside right now is that we need more substreams. So you saw that Pinax is building a few, Streaming Fast is building a few, but we need more of them to cover more use cases and make it more insightful. So what's next for this project? The goal is to maybe handle multiple substream providers. Right now, we can only work with Pinax substreams, but if we provide some other API keys, we can work with any substream provider, like Streaming Fast, for example. Also, we can automatically detect the field types. So the formatting can be detected by other tools like Looker Studio. So you saw me briefly change the format of the block numbers to number. We can do that automatically in the next versions of this project. Also handle larger streaming operations. So maybe if you want to extract data for like a whole day, it's going to take you maybe a few hours or something. You might want the ability to pause and resume, and also for the tool to work in the background while you do some other thing with the data. And of course, we want to build more substreams. That's the main thing, because that's what this tool is all about, is combining substream with your favorite editor, Google Sheets. So that's going to wrap up my presentation here, my demo. Hopefully you get some really insightful knowledge here. And if you want to check out more, check out Pinax GitHub, Pinax website, and I'll see you there. Have a good day.